Hey y'all, it's Sarah, the wine-loving bookworm, back with another book and wine review for your Sunday night. Please don't ignore my co-host, because everybody loves him. I get way more views when he's here. Anyway, I'm going to start off tonight by giving a shout out to Urinal Cake 1975. You brought my subscribers up to 38 subscribers, and
love it.
Yeah. It's amazing, and it's all because of you. So, Urinal Cake 1975.
Love you.
This one's for you.
All
right. Okay, so I guess we'll start with the wine tonight. We are what's tonight? We're 4 days from Halloween. Favorite holiday. Okay, so Publix happened to have Ghost Pines wine. Unbogo, and this is actually like $22, $23, so you know it's a little pricey for me, but it's spooky season, and I have my little skull cup. Ooh, it's spooky. Okay, so what do you got tonight?
Jack and Coke.
Jack and Coke, that's boring. Okay, so cheers.
It's manly though.
Oh, it's manly. That's pretty good. I mean, for $23, I'm expecting a little more. Let me try it again. Oh, no, you give it a shot. No, it's a Pinot Noir, too, and I usually like Pinot Noirs. He's cleansing the palate. Right? Well, it has like a weird,
Tastes nothing like Jack Daniels.
Thank God. All right. So a little disappointed in that. I also got a Cabernet. I was trying to decide between the two. Maybe I should have tried the Cabernet. Anyway, Ghost Pines, at least it's, it's seasonal. All right, so let's move on to the book. This week I read The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, and I just kind of looked her up a little bit. I think I said last time that one of her characters in this book, it was supposed to be a lesbian. I didn't really get that from the book. What are you doing over there? Checking yourself out. I don't really get that from the book, but apparently sometimes things were more subtle back in the day, so maybe I just don't pick up on it. But she was a very progressive writer. She wrote a lot of mysteries, ghost stories. She was actually compared to Stephen King a little bit, or Stephen King's compared to her. She came first. She was born in 1916, but she died when she was like 48 years old, so pretty young. And she also wrote a book called We Have Always Lived in the Castle, which I really want to read. Another ghost story. And she wrote a short story called The Lottery, which is, they made a movie or a mini series about it. I remember where people, somebody had to die and there was a lottery every time. Do you remember that at all? No?
Oh yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Back in the, a while ago, maybe early 2000s, they made some minutes. That was her thing. So she's a little, macabre. But
Macabre.
I got this
Macabre.
Macabre. It's, seasonal. I got this book because of the Netflix series, really, because I watched that series and we've been watching it again. We didn't get all the way through it, but I love that series, so I thought I'd pick up the book. I will say that the series is inspired by the book. It is not the book. If you've ever watched The Haunting of Hill House, the movie, that is kind of more like the book, but not exactly. So some things, the characters in the book, which I found interesting, were all the children in the Netflix series. Her name is Shirley Jackson, and Shirley is one of the kids. Nellie is one of the people. Theodora, Theo, and Luke. The only one that wasn't there was Steven, and he was my least favorite character in the Netflix series. I thought he was such a douche, so maybe I'm not really sure why maybe they changed the name. There were other names in here they could have used, so maybe because he's just a big jerk.
He was kind of a douche.
He is a huge douche, and I hated him. But this book really centers upon Nellie. Centers around, I don't think you can center upon something, Nellie, Eleanor, in this book. And she was my favorite character in the Netflix series. And I think you agree.
Yep.
And there was all this stuff in here because in the book, it's they invite a group of people to come to the Hill House to try to. It's a doctor, and he's trying to measure paranormal activity, I guess, and he invites people who have experienced some sort of paranormal activity into the house. And Eleanor, who's pretty much the main character, she has this like, she's drawn to the house, and in the house there are things like there's something written on the wall like "Come home, Nellie," and that's exactly what was in the TV show. Remember where they said "Come home, Nellie"? And she climbs up to the turrets, you know, like she's gonna jump off. There was just so many parallels between the movie or the Netflix series and the book, even though they were completely different. So I found that interesting. I'm trying to think of what else. She just felt like drawn to the house, and she felt like she didn't have anything else, and that's why she went. And that was kind of how it was in the Netflix series too. At the, you know, in her episode or whatever, she lost everything in her life, so she went back to the house, and the house, you know, sort of consumed her without.
Do you think the house like kind of like somehow drew
definitely,
them in? Or?
Definitely, and that was definitely how it was in this book. I mean, don't you feel like that was the way it was in the series?
Yeah, but you would think that
Nellie,
like
at least
all that scary stuff happening, you wouldn't want to go eat the house.
But she wanted to go back to the house, and this woman wanted to stay in the house when she got there. She felt just a strong connection to it. Yeah, I mean, it's scary, and these kids basically grew up in a haunted house, so who wants to go back there? But at the same time, these women were similar because they had lost everything in their life. They were really at a bad point in their life, and so they decided to go to the house and basically never leave. And they also, several different characters mentioned things about, wouldn't it be awesome watching this house burn down? Wouldn't it be awesome watching this house burn down? I mean, I'm not trying to spoiler alert you here, but I think, you know.
Don't spoil it.
At the end of the series, you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they kept saying it over and over again. So whoever made that series really dove into this book and took things out of it. And I bet if I read it a couple more times, I would find, you know, a lot more things. Like the thing that was written on the wall was like, "Help Eleanor, please come home." And that's like exactly what was written on the wall in the thing.
But it
in
didn't
the series.
all the way say it until they tore
tore off the thing. So it's almost like, is it before or after? You know, like maybe these guys were there before and there was something going. But they talked about Hugh Crane, Hugh Crane was the father's name in the series. In the book, he built the house. That wasn't exactly the same in the series. They moved into the house already built. But I don't know. That would be a big coincidence. Like if you were saying this book came before the series, and then I don't know, people with Nellie as their name just are really SOL when it comes to this house. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. One thing about that movie was that they kept coming back. You know, keeping fun of it. It was that scary stuff was happening. I would be out of there so fast.
Well, I don't think they necessarily kept going back. It was
they wouldn't.
The girl Nellie.
Can you imagine
kept going
living
back.
there?
No.
I would be like, we're selling this place right now.
Well, maybe they felt like they had to end it at the end somehow.
Maybe.
Because the mom was still there. And they did talk about a suicide with the mom in the book, too. So, lots of parallels, but I'm not saying that's, I mean, they obviously did it on purpose. Whoever it was who read this book and kind of, you know, made the series off of it. So, it's good. It wasn't as scary as maybe I thought it would be. So.
I mean, I liked it because it wasn't like, I mean, it was scary, but I liked the fact that it was
I'm talking about the book. I mean, the Netflix series was scary. I mean, there were some parts that freaked me out. The bent neck lady. It wasn't like all neck lady.
Bloody and like.
No, it was more psychological, and it had a very Stephen King feel to it. So if you like Stephen King and you haven't watched the series or read the book, even the book has a very Stephen King feel to it. This is an older book, so sometimes they're a little different. I liked it. The writing was really good, but not my favorite in the whole world. Just the series was just amazing to me. I mean, I just loved how they did it. But
yeah, I mean, can you imagine living in a place like that?
No.
I mean, our old house was kind of weird. Some of the stuff was happening.
Would you stop talking about haunted stuff?
Okay,
He told me the other night that he woke up on Friday night and then a little girl was standing by our mirror, like our full-length mirror in our room. Really? I had to go to bed early last night. Do you think I slept? No. I had to wake up at 5 o'clock this morning and go run a race. And I slept about 3 hours.
From the other house.
Yeah, and he saw an old lady in the other house. So now it's a little girl. How is that following us?
I think it was an old lady. It was like, looked like an older, like little, like feeble.
It's a leprechaun or something. I don't know.
Now,
No,
see.
Walker.
She's gonna scare you. And staying next to your bed.
All right, this is no good. I'm not gonna sleep again tonight. I'm really tired.
I mean, how can a little old lady in like a little walker with those little tennis balls on the
She can turn evil. It's not like she's really an old lady. She's a spirit. No. She can do whatever she wants.
Okay, miss, you know.
All right, we digress. Do you have anything else to say about Hill House?
Nothing about Hill House.
Okay. Anything to say about anything?
I was just gonna say, how about, I mean, what if all that stuff could not continue to happen at our old house? Would you want to like continue to stay there?
No, I already told you I would have gotten a priest if it had happened one more night.
Like the lights coming on. What else happened?
I don't know all that story, hun.
Well, tell them. Tell the story.
I wasn't going to go into this, but we had a incident where I think at first it was the TV going on really loud at like 2 something. It happened every night at the same time, but I don't exactly remember what time it was. It was like 2:12, let's say. And the TV turned on at full blast, and we never leave in the living room. We never leave the TV on at full blast. We don't listen to it like that. And it would come on at full blast, and then the next night at the exact same time, 2:12, came on again, full blast. And that freaked me out.
What's going on in our
But it
room?
didn't, wait, but it didn't happen again. And then like a month later, and I might be flip-flopping these, but whatever, a month later, our lights turn on. All our lights turn on in our room at the same exact time that the whole TV thing happened. And then the next night, they all turn on again. And so I told him, I go, if it happens one more night, I'm getting a priest. And it never happened.
I mean, like I said, I mean, if that stuff continued to happen, like, imagine the Hill House, they're like trying to renovate this place. I'd be like, hell with this, I'm out of here.
Well, sometimes you don't have that luxury.
You know, and it's a movie, so.
True. And a book.
There's that.
But that was our life. Okay, so I guess that's it. You have any other
No.
questions, comments, concerns? So Shirley Jackson, Haunting of Hill House. It's little. It's pretty easy to read. I don't know. It was okay. Not as creepy as I wanted it to be, but it was good. And if you watch the Netflix series, I think you'll enjoy it because you'll see the little parallels in it. Okay, so next week, sorry, I'm laying down. I am going to read The Testaments by Margaret Atwood, and she's the one that wrote The Handmaid's Tale, which is all the rage right now. It's on Hulu. If you have watched that, I love that show. He watched one season with me, and then he was kind of out. But if you don't know, it's kind of a dystopian future where there's a, how would I describe it? Like a oppressive government, I suppose, in America, and they kind of follow a bunch of, biblical principles that have been kind of swayed or, interpreted to the way they want. But they have a heavy hand on the American population, and there are these women called handmaids, basically the baby makers. And there's a fertility issue in the whole world, and that's why this kind of comes about. And Margaret Atwood wrote her book, The Handmaid's Tale, back in the 60s, I think. I've read that. Real easy, real quick book to read if you want to pick that up. And then they made it into a series just recently on Hulu, which I love. So she came out with this, and this is oh God, I don't know if it's a prequel or a sequel. I think it's a sequel to The Handmaid's Tale, maybe. We'll see. Testaments. So we'll see how it goes next week. I love The Handmaid's Tale. I love all that stuff. It's crazy. It's great. So that's my book for next week.
And if you like her,
subscribe to my YouTube channel, like stuff, comment on it, whatever, whatever it is. I'm
counting on this being my retirement fund, so come on.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, you guys, thanks for tuning in, and cheers to some Ghost Pines wine.
And thank you, Urinal Cake, again.
Urinal cake, 1975. We do this for you.
Cheers to you, buddy.
All right, guys. Have a good week, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye.